Just do your thing here, bud. Nobody's any better at this than you are.
Have fun, take a deep breath.
Give him hell at the end. Good luck to you.
Fight like hell like we do every week. You are the best here.
Brett, be affirmative. You told me to get on.
Info. Ready. Ready. Go slow. Green, green, green. Lock it down, lock it down. 14.
I'm destroyed, and I just got drove through like 6 times on the 14th. What the f*** is he thinking? That is the stupidest thing I've seen in my career. Literally.
Everything you described is accurate. Haven't even finished the second stage yet. Half the field's wrecked.
Hell yeah.
11 got it. Proud of you there, Matt. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day. Great work, my man. Great work.
Keep putting yourself in position, we'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
Therefore, great job, guys.
And welcome back to Racing in the Draft. My name is Mark. Welcome back to 2023. It's another year. Man, off-season gets shorter and shorter every year. I appreciate you tuning back in for another year of Racing in the Draft, where we break down all the drivers for the races each Sunday. I break down drivers' stats and probably my predictions or best guess on Draftkings lineups and things, and kind of go through some past things. If you're new here, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate you tuning in. Let me know if there's any issues with audio video. I got a new computer in the off season and been getting all the gremlins out of the new system so everything works correctly. So hopefully this doesn't go too south, but and we have the big one. But I'm sure we'll probably have that later this afternoon. And that's kind of why you're here. Let's break down the Daytona 500 for this year and the 2023's and restart to the season. So far, it's been quite exciting in the trucks. We had rain, Xfinity, we had cars upside down. We had JRM Motorsports have literally probably the best chance of beating the 21 car in Austin Hill. And man, did they just crap the bed. But either way, before we get to that, let's take a quick glance at last year and Joey Logano winning the championship in dominating fashion between he and Ryan Blaney at Phoenix. Each week I go over the previous race and kind of give you the optimal lineups. I do have an optimal lineup challenge every year, and as you can see, Eric Jones and Ross Chastain were the two most optimal lineup drivers. I also break down the other drivers not in the optimal that probably still were in cash lineups. We won't spend much time on this because it was 3 months ago. But either way, I do this each and every week, and just kind of wanted to highlight Eric Jones and Ross Chastain did win the optimal lineup for 2022. But without further ado, let's get into the Daytona 500. Make sure you hit me up with your picks, likes, dislikes. Do you think we'll have the big one again today? And who might be taken out? Who might not? Will Ryan Blaney finally get a chance to win this thing? Or maybe Bubba Wallace gets a chance to win a super speedway without rain. Rain does not appear to be in the forecast, but it's Daytona. You never know. It's the beach, so it might happen. Yep, just realized that audio was not working, maybe it was. I don't have a clue. Let's see. Well, if anybody's out there, make sure you hit me up in the chat and let me know that microphone is working. You can hear my audio. Like I said, gremlins and bugs. So hopefully you heard the first part of that. But if not, sorry. All right, Daytona 500 from Daytona, Florida. So this track type is a super speedway. We really only have 2 of these types, but we do have Atlanta that does end up running like a super speedway. The track length here at Daytona is 2.5 miles. It's 31 degrees in the bankings. The race length today is 200 laps. Dominator points of 140 points coming from 50 laps, or 50 points from laps led. You get 0.25 points per lap led. And fast laps of 90, you get 0.45 for each fast lap. At Daytona, Talladega, and Atlanta, these are both spread out amongst almost all the drivers. You could have even a BJ McLeod who typically does not run fast laps and typically runs towards the back. But because of the draft, he may end up turning the fastest lap of anybody in the field. So he would get points for that. So that's why pretty much anybody in this race is kind of eligible for your lineups today. You're really not concerned about pricing. You can fit almost anything that you want in these lineups. I mean, you can't take the top 6, but that would be kind of, I think, futile. That would never happen. Watch it happen today. But either way, that is our breakdown of points. Dominator points will not be something that we will be concerned about today. When we get to Martinsville, Richmond, Bristol, those types of tracks, then Dominator points definitely come into play. Like I said, our track comparisons are Daytona and Talladega, and just recently Atlanta from last year. Acts like a super speedway, pack racing, large drafts, large wrecks that take out multiple cars, sometimes even double digits. So when you wipe out half the field, a lot of times the guys that are running way in the back avoid these catastrophes and end up having pretty good days. The biggest thing we are concerned about today for points are place differentials, which is somebody that how many spots they move up. They get 1 point per spot they move up. So if you start 40th and you move up to 10th, you've got 30 points. And typically we're looking for probably people that are going to be in the 40, 50, 60 point range today. So getting 30 of those points, and you also get kind of the reverse. You get point per position pretty much. So if you finish first, it's like 40 points. If you finish last, it's 1 point. So because there's 40 cars. All right, let's break this down. At the top up here is the driver. Chase Elliott is the most expensive driver today, $10,400. His starting position is 8th. That came from from first he had to qualify, then they raced in the duels, and where he finished in the duels is where he starts the race. So he raced in duel number 2. He finished 3rd, and because the front row was already set from qualifying, whoever won duel 2 starts in position 2. Position 3 starts in 6, and because Chase Elliott finished 3rd in that duel, he is starting in 8th. So he is starting on the outside row. That kind of explains this piece of the puzzle and how they got there. Then in white here below here, this breaks down the last 5 races at Daytona. So Chase Elliott in the last 5 races at Daytona has 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, and 4 top 20s. He's got a 39.8 Draftkings average and a 10.4 average finish. And if you're wondering, this correlates to these 5 races at Daytona. Then we look over here. He finished in this would be the fall race. So the last race that they raced at Daytona, which would have been the fall or late summer race at Daytona, which was a 400-mile race instead of a 500, Chase Elliott finished 29th in that race. Then we look over here. This is the full history for Daytona that Chase Elliott has. So he's got a total of 14 total starts at Daytona, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, and 7 top 20s. All right, so that breaks down most of the history and stats for Chase Elliott at Daytona. Then I come over here. I have Chase Elliott at an 11 on what I consider my power ranking, whatever that you want to call it. Pretty much the algorithm that I take in. It's the last 5 races at Daytona. It is a combination of probably, I think it's 4 races at Daytona, 4 races at Talladega, and the two New Atlanta races, and his stats there. Then also looking at the current trend. Well, we don't really have a current trend because we're at the start of the year. I do compare a little bit to the last 10 races from last year because this car is not that much different. But they've had a long off season to get everything corrected and right, so not a whole lot of weight there. And his starting position, and because his starting position is in the top 10, I don't put a lot of weight because there's not a lot of place differential upside or PD upside, as you'll hear me say it. So I have him ranked at about 11 out of the 40 cars, and I've got him in about 5 to 10% of my lineups. I don't give exact numbers. I run about 40 different lineups. So you can kind of look at that, and I've got him anywhere from 2 to 4 of those 40 lineups, what this 5 to 10% means. So that kind of breaks down everything you need to know that's inside this box. We'll kind of cruise through the rest of these drivers. I'll give you some thoughts about some of these new drivers and where they may end up finishing and not finishing. So, next in line here, Denny Hamlin, 10,300. Starting 18th, he finished 9th in duel number 2. He has a pretty good history here at Daytona. In the last 5 races, though, he's only got 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, 3 top 20s, a 34.7 Draftkings average, and a 16.8 average finish. He finished 25th here in the fall race last year. He's got 34 total starts. He does have 3 wins to his record. 11 top 5s, 12 top 10s, and 20 of 34. He's finished in the top 20. So I expect Denny Hamlin to have some PD upside play here. So take that into account. He's got some PD play. He's got great potential. He's a great super speedway racer. I expect Denny Hamlin, if he can avoid the big one, to be up towards the front and really challenging for a win. He just understands the draft, kind of like Dale Earnhardt Jr. Used to understand the draft really, really well. Denny Hamlin has that knack also. So Denny Hamlin is number 1 on the power ranking, and I've got him in 40 to 45% of my lineups. He is going to be fairly heavily owned. And it's one of those, if he does really well and you don't have him, you're screwed. If you have him and he does badly, probably more than likely a lot of other people do too. So he's a kind of a throwaway bet, but it's kind of one of those, if he does really well and you don't have him, your lineup's a mess. So you can be contrarian and not play Denny Hamlin because the rest of the field's going to play him. But if he ends up doing well, yeah, that one's kind of sunk. So Ryan Blaney, who also has a really good average here at Daytona and super speedways, 10,100, starting 7th. He finished 3rd in duel number 1. He does have 1 win here in the last 5 races at Daytona, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 4 top 20s, a 34.4 Draftkings average, 11.2 average finish. He finished 15th here in the fall race. And out of his 15 total starts, he's got that 1 win, 4 top 5s, 6 top 10s, and 9 top 20s. Because of his starting spot, I don't like anybody starting in the top 10, as you will find out for super speedways. Just too much risk starting that far up, and once again, finishing position is big, but place differential is also is much bigger in my opinion for DraftKings. Ryan Blaney is probably a decent bet to. You want to make a one-off bet with one of the betting sites out there. Ryan Blaney might be a decent bet to win this race, but you only move up 6 spots. So I mean, you get a Travis Pastrana that starting 40th and finishes 10th is going to have more points than a Ryan Blaney does winning the race. I know it's kind of weird and convoluted, but that's what happens. So he's 8th on my ranking system, and I've got him in 5 to 10% of my lineups, kind of like Chase Elliott. Joey Logano, 10,000, starting 3rd. He finished 1st in his first duel. The Fords look extremely fast. Ryan Blaney starting up there close to him. I expect the 2 of them to link up and try to run away with this, even though you can't really run away from super speedway racing. But I expect them to probably run up front. The question is, does one of them push or block and end up wrecking or have a bad pit stop? But starting 3rd is way too far up for me. No place differential possibility. Yeah, he potentially could win. If he leads a ton of laps, then yeah, maybe that puts him in the optimal lineup, but the chances of that are very risky. And in the last 5 races here at Daytona, he's got no top 5s, no top 10s, and only 2 top 20s, a 23.2 DraftKings average, and a 19.2 average finish. He finished 12th here in the fall race last year. 28 total starts here at Daytona with 1 win, 6 top 5s, 9 top 10s, and 16 top 20. Kyle Larson, 9,900. I was in a group chat earlier today, and people were asking, who's a dark horse pick for Daytona, and somebody said Kyle Larson. They were like, that's not a dark horse, and I'm like, actually, it really is, because as you can see, out of the last 5 races here at Daytona, he has only 1 top 10 and one top 20 with a negative 1.7 DraftKings average and a 25th place average finish. He's never finished Daytona inside the top 5, and only 4 times out of 17 starts has he finished in the top 10. Kyle Larson just does not have good luck when it comes to super speedways, so expecting probably the same today. And starting second, there is no PD upside play with Kyle Larson. It is only a downside. I will think I have 0 to 5%. I think I have 0 Kyle Larson today. So, yeah, I don't like the pole sitter or outside pole sitter way more than I'd like the top 10. So, Kyle Larson is out for me today. All right, William Byron, 9,700, starting 21st. He finished 10th in duel number 1. He does have a win here at Daytona in the last 5 races. Oops, I already see a typo. He does have a couple typos here. He does have 1 win in the last 5. He's got 1 top 5, and I think it's supposed to be a 1. So 1 top 5, 1 top 10, 1 top 20, and a 0.6 DraftKings average, a 27.4. So other than that win, it's been abysmal for William Byron. 10 total starts here at Daytona with only 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, 2 top 20s. So kind of like Kyle Larson, he ends up receiving the bad luck charm at Daytona. So starting 21st, he does have a little bit of PD upside play, which maybe William Byron's luck turns around. I've got him in about a quarter of my lineups, 25 to 30%. He is 5th on the power ranking. So taking that into account, it's a risky play because his average is not great here, but he does know how to win at Daytona. He has done it before. So it's either feast or famine for William Byron. Oh, Kyle Busch, 9,600. Welcome to the Chevy camp and your new number 8. The Chevys are pretty fast here. They're not quite as fast as the Fords, but in group draft racing, it really doesn't matter how fast your particular car is because everybody's going to tow along. And Kyle Busch got the chrome horn from Daniel Suarez during the duel number 2 and ended up finishing 19th and wrecked his car and had to go to a backup. So he is starting 36, is his official starting spot, but he will actually be starting shotgun in the field in 40th because he had to go to a backup. No one else in the field had to go to a backup, so Kyle Busch will be starting last. Now, that doesn't mean you can't win this race because, as we saw yesterday, Austin Hill came from the back and within 20 laps was in the top 10, and by the end of stage 1, he was up battling for the lead. So do not take Kyle Busch out of your lineups. I think he is much more of a big play, starting 36, a ton of PD upside play here with Kyle Busch. It's a little feast or famine with Kyle at super speedways, but I expect Kyle Busch to do fairly well today. He wants to prove the Toyota camp really made a mistake and let him go. So we're going to see a different style Kyle Busch this year in that number 8 car. And yeah, I think Richard Childress has taken the gloves off and let him go at it. So I've got a large amount of Kyle Busch, 40 to 45%, 3rd on the algorithm. And as you can see, his stats down here are decent at Daytona. So take that into account. I like Kyle Busch today. Bubba Wallace, 9,400. Bubba Wallace might be next to, might be one of the best super speedway racers we currently have. Right there with Denny Hamlin. I mean, go figure, his boss is Denny Hamlin, so no better person to learn from than your boss. 9,400, starting 15th. He finished 7th in the duel. He was battling for the top spot at the end of that duel and just didn't have the right running partner. But in the last 5 races at Daytona, 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 5 top 20s, a 51.3 DraftKings average, an 11.5 average finish. Finished 11th in the fall race. Yeah, I like Bubba Wallace. He's got a little bit of PD upside play, not a ton. So, if he can just be there at the end, he's going to definitely score some points. So number 4 on the ranking system, and I've got him in 30-35% of my life. Make sure you hit me up in the chat. Let me know who you like, who you don't like, and would love to hear your thoughts make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. All right, next in line here, Ross Chastain, 9,200. Ross does not have a win here at Daytona. He did win at Talladega last year, so he does have a super speedway win in this next-gen car. Number 2 on the power ranking, starting 23rd. A decent amount of PD upside play here. Yeah, starting 23rd. 1 top 10, 3 top 20s in the last 5 Daytona races, a 24.6 Draftkings average, and a 23.0 average finish. Yeah, the only issue with Ross is he's sometimes a little aggressive. That's the only concern that I have, but I'm going to throw it out the window. I think Ross Chastain just got an extension for 3 years with Trackhouse, so that locks him in. He's gonna go out and try to make sure that he gets a win early this year and locks himself into the playoffs. Yeah, I like Ross Chastain today. I've got him in 40 to 45% of my lineups. Tyler Reddick, $9,000, starting 26. Way back there, Tyler. In the Toyota. The Toyotas draft really well together. They've got, Tyler being in this new car, racing for Denny Hamlin. I expect Tyler Reddick to do some pretty decent things today. I think he'll be a little cautious to start and then be there at the end. Starting 26, decent amount of PD upside play here. 20-25% of my lineups. Tyler in the last 5 races at Daytona, 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, 22.4 Draftkings average, 19.8 average finish. He did finish second in the fall race last year here at Daytona, but that was an absolute melee of a race. So, it's all about attrition, and if you can just survive to the end. Brad Keselowski, $8,800, starting 10th. Not a whole lot of PD upside play here, but Brad is a fairly good plate racer, or super speedway racer, but they don't run plates anymore. But Brad's $8,800, starting 10th. He finished 4th in duel number 2. He did finish 35th here in the fall race last year, but he does have 1 win here at Daytona, 3 top 5, 6 top 10s, 11 top 20s. Brad needs to start this year off right. Last year, they had an issue and a penalty and put him in the hole, and he never was able to recover. So, maybe Brad will have a much better year. We'll see. Starting 10th, not a whole lot of PD upside play here. So I've got a little bit of ownership, not a ton in Brad. Christopher Bell, 8,600, has about as bad luck at Daytona as Kyle Larson. And starting 5th, I don't particularly like it. 8,600, starting 5th. He did finish 2nd in duel number 1. And in the last 5 races here, last 5 races here at Daytona, he's only got 2 top 20s and a 5.2 Draftkings average and a 26.4 average finish. Finished 36th here in the fall race last year. So Christopher Bell's stats here at Daytona are not great. Awful. Martin Truex Jr. next in line here, $8,400, starting 16th. Finished 8th in duel number 2, and he did win the Clash race earlier 2 weeks ago. So congrats to him. Now he just needs to win a points race and get himself into the playoffs this year. He missed last year and was running actually 4th in total points standings and still missed the playoffs. So Martin Truex Jr. wants to get a win under his belt, so that way he makes the playoffs this year. And this may be Martin Truex Jr.'s final year, so we'll see. All right, starting 16th, a little bit of PD upside play here for Martin. Martin's been hit or miss here at a little bit of feast or famine with super speedways in Daytona. He does not have a win. Does have 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and 16 top 20s out of 31 total starts. I've got him in a few lineups. Yeah, it's hit or miss with Martin. Maybe he just gets a nice solid top 10 finish and goes on, or maybe he battles for a win, or maybe he ends up in the big one. We'll have to wait and see. Either way. Austin Cindric, the winner of the Daytona 500 from last year, starting 6th, $8,200. As you can see, he does have the best Draftkings average and finish, but he's only raced twice, or 3 times total here at Daytona in the Cup Series. He does have that 1 win last year, 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, 3 top 20s. So pretty decent super speedway racer. He always finished pretty well in the Xfinity series also. But starting sixth, there's not a whole lot of PD upside play here, and PD upside play is going to be the key to this race. So moving up and finishing in the top 10 are the two things we need to look for, and you need both of those. Just finishing where you start here does not do any good. So wonder if Austin Cindric's luck will hold out and maybe get a second Daytona 500. Austin Dillon, our winner from the fall race here at Daytona, $8,000, starting 27th. Good PD upside play here with Austin Dillon. He's a really good super speedway racer, and he also has won twice here at Daytona. So take that into account. In the last 5 races here at Daytona, he's got 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, 3 top 20s, a 37.0 DraftKings average, and a 14.4 average finish. Pretty good average finish, starting 27th. I probably almost should have more ownership in Austin Dillon with that starting spot, but he'll be probably pretty heavily owned. I've got him in 20-25% of my lineups. And like I said, 19 total starts here at Daytona with 14 top 20s. So pretty good super speedway racer and Daytona racer. All right, Kevin Harvick has announced retirement. This will be his last Daytona 500, as he has said. We'll see if that actually holds true, but I think it will. I think this will be Kevin Harvick's last Daytona 500. He does have 2 wins here at Daytona, but none in the last 5 races, where he has 1 top 5, 1 top 10, and 4 top 20s, a 19.6 DraftKings average, and an 18.0 average finish, starting 13th. Finished 20th here in the fall. He does have, like I said, the 2 wins here at Daytona, and out of 43 total starts, 26 in the top 20. So, I mean, almost batting 50%, a little better than 50% to finish in the top 20. Starting 13th, and not a lot of PD upside play with Kevin, but 15 to 20% ownership for me with Kevin. Jimmy Johnson's back. Check him out. Racing the 84 Carvana car. Just remember, not the 48. That'll be Alex Bowman. He is in the 84, and because he qualified his way in, and then only finished 14th in the duels, he has to go to the rear also, because some weird math that they have. If you qualify on time, but not in your race, you get the last starting spot, or next to the last starting spot. Same thing happened with Travis Pastrana. Either way, $7,700 for Jimmy Johnson. Starting 39th, a ton of PD upside play here. Jimmy Johnson has 3 wins at Daytona. 38 total starts with 22 top 20s. He only has 1 start in the last 5 races where he finished 17th. PD upside play all day long. I like Jimmy Johnson a lot. Question is, how is his reflexes? Can he get himself into the right position? Can he miss the big one? Starting 39th, a lot of PD upside play. So 25 to 30% ownership on Jimmy Johnson. I expect him to probably be heavily owned. So take that into account. Alex Bowman, the 48. Look at there, side by side in the DraftKings dollar amounts. But Alex Bowman, 7,500, starting from the pole. Yeah, don't like the pole sitter. Never have, never will at super speedways. Even though we had one yesterday win from the pole, it's just too risky and too much of a PD downside. And Alex Bowman does not have a top 5 at Daytona. In the last 5 races, though, he just have 2 top 10s and 3 top 20s. But if he finishes 10th, he's not going to make the optimal lineup. Plain and simple. He's going to lose 9 points just from that. And 30 points-ish for finishing 10th. If he doesn't lead many laps, I mean, he might have 25, 30 points at the most. That's not going to be what you need to make the optimal lineup. So I don't see any upside play with Alex Bowman. I don't have him in any of my lineups. Chase Briscoe, $7,400. Starting 30th. He's got 4 total starts here at Daytona with 1 top 5, 1 top 10, 2 top 20s, an 18.8 average finish, and a 27.4 DraftKings average. Finished 31st in the fall. It's a coin flip with Chase Briscoe, but decent amount of PD upside play starting 30th. So I do like Chase Briscoe in about 15 to 20% of my lineups. So, yeah. I don't mind Chase Briscoe today. He's running in the Ford. So the Fords are fast. They're going to find each other, and they're going to work their way to the front. So I expect Chase Briscoe to have a decent amount of place differential upside. Daniel Suarez, $7,200. Daniel better watch out. I don't think that Kyle Busch will have any retaliation, especially at Daytona. It's too dangerous. You could end up collecting yourself when doing that. But yeah, no, and they're both Chevy drivers. And it was an accident, and Kyle Busch has acknowledged that he didn't see. So Daniel Suarez. Now the issue with Daniel is he does only have 3 top 20s out of 11 starts, no top 10s, no top 5s. A 14.1 DraftKings average and a 24.8 average finish, starting 24th. There's PD upside play here with Daniel. He's just had bad luck. Maybe his luck turned around today. I think it might. But because he is driving the Chevy, there will be a bunch of Chevys that he can be around. Question is, do they survive to the end? Maybe. That's the whole key to this race. Survive to the end. All right, getting down to some value picks here. Everybody's kind of a value pick at Daytona. Chris Buescher, 7,100, starting 9th. Once again, we are starting in the top 10. I don't have a whole lot of interest, even though Chris Buescher is a decent super speedway racer. He does have 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, 3 top 20s here in the last 5 races. A 22.8 DraftKings average and a 17.0 average finish. He finished 27th here in the fall race last year. Out of 14 total starts, he's got 3 top 5s, 6 top 10s, 8 top 20s. I mean, it's decent, but you're starting in 9th. Don't like anybody starting in the top 10. So not much ownership there. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 6,900, does have a win here at Daytona, but in the last 5 races, his luck has not been great. He's only got 1 top 20. And a 16.2 DraftKings average and a 24.6 average finish. The problem with Ricky is he is a aggressive driver, and he will put himself into positions that he shouldn't be putting himself in, or just having bad luck. So lots of PD upside play with Ricky. Question is, can he survive? That's a big question, because he hasn't been able to survive 4 out of the last 5 races at Daytona. So yeah, I mean, the thing I like is his starting spot, and he's won at Daytona before, so he understands how to win in these big drafts. I've got him in 20-25% of my lineups, and because of his starting spot and his name, he'll get some ownership. So just be wary of that. Ryan Preece taking over the 41 ride from Cole Custer, $6,800, starting 20th. Okay, starting in the middle of the field. And in 3 starts, he's got 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, 2 top 20s, a 16th place average finish. Going to be in a Ford. It's going to be fast. He understands how to finish decent at super speedways. And Ryan Preece wants to get a good start to his season. So I expect Ryan Preece to potentially be there at the end. Never know. These things are so crazy. Anything can happen. So I do like Ryan Preece. He's starting middle of the field. He's got some PD upside play. I've got him in 20-25%. Eric Jones, 6,600, does have a win here at Daytona, but in the last 5 races, he's kind of like Ricky. He's only got 2 top 20s, no top 10s, 26.4 average finish, and a 12.2 average DraftKings average. He does have a win here out of his 12 total starts here at Daytona, starting 25th. Decent amount of PD upside play here. I've got him in 20-25% of my lineups. So I think he'll be decently owned. Probably 15-18% would be my guess. Michael McDowell, who won this race 2 years ago, $6,500. Michael McDowell is an extremely good super speedway racer, understands the draft and understands when to make the right moves and when not to. Very smart super speedway racer. And as you can see, he does have the 1 win, 2 top 10s, 3 top 20s in the last 5 races here, 22.7 DraftKings average and an 18.8 average finish. He finished 32nd here in the fall race, so that one kind of stunk. But 23 total starts, 13 of them he's finished in the top 20. And I mean, prior to 3 years ago, Michael McDowell was in really bad equipment. And make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know who you like today and who you don't like. Noah Gragson, our first rookie driver of the year. He and Ty Gibbs will go head-to-head all year long for Rookie of the Year. But Noah Gragson, $6,400, making his 3rd start in the Cup car. He did start here twice last year, once for Beard and twice with Beard last year. But he finished in the top 5 last fall, starting finishing 5th. So an 18.0 average finish and a 47.2 DraftKings average. And Noah has won quite a few super speedway races in the Xfinity car. The question is, can he survive and be there at the end? Maybe he'll take Wendy's to a win and go get a whatever they've got, a Frosty or something after. That's if he doesn't get sick. Either way, Noah Gragson, good luck with your rookie outing this year. Eric Almirola, 6,200. Another really good super speedway racer, but you're starting in 4th. Eric, you're starting too high for me. Not interested because of your starting spot. Not because of his stats. He does have 1 win here at Daytona in the 22 total starts. 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s, 12 top 10s, or 20s. Eric's a good super speedway racer. I just don't like his starting spot. Plain and simple. There is no PD upside. If there's not a PD upside potential, I don't have any interest. This race is too long, too many variables. And without that PD upside play, he would have to lead 100 laps to even become somebody that would be remotely interested. And that's not going to happen. They're going to swap leads every other lap. AJ Allmendinger is making a return, so he is not a rookie. That would be a really old rookie. He's like 44 years old or something. I'm older than he is, so I can call him an old man. $6,100 starting 29th, but making his return to the Cup Series. Congratulations, AJ. Welcome back. One of my favorite road course racers to watch. Really, really good. 15 total starts here at Daytona with 3 top 5s, 6 top 10s, and 9 top 20s. He's a decent super speedway racer. He's won in the Xfinity Series recently on super speedways, so lots of PD upside play with AJ Allmendinger. Ty Gibbs, 5,800, starting 33rd. On a PD upside play here for the young rookie and Xfinity champion from last year, who will go head-to-head with Noah Gragson for that coveted rookie title of the year this year. Starting 33rd, ton of PD upside play with Ty Gibbs. If he can just avoid the big one, he will hopefully have a ton of PD upside play. So I really like Ty Gibbs today for that PD upside play. The question is, can he just keep his head in the game and his car on the racetrack? 20-25% ownership with Ty Gibbs. Okay. He did finish 13th here in the fall race last year. Justin Haley, 5,600, does have a win here in at Daytona. 5 total starts for Justin Haley in the Cup Series with 1 win, 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, and 3 top 20s. Coming from 28th, I really like Justin Haley today for some PD upside play. And yeah, definitely take a stab at Justin Haley today, starting 28th. I think he's got a lot of upside, not a whole lot of downside. And he knows how to win here at Daytona. Corey LaJoie, 5,500. I was hoping Corey LaJoie would qualify further back because I really like taking Corey LaJoie's at the super speedways. But yeah, starting too high for me, Corey. Starting 12th, not a whole lot of PD upside play here, but he is a decent super speedway racer. He understands how to get the car to the end of the race. Out of 12 total starts here at Daytona, he's got 1 top 5, 3 top 10s, and 7 top 20s. Finished 30th here in the fall race. So, it'll be fun and exciting to watch Corey LaJoie, but I don't have much ownership because I don't like his starting spot. Same thing here with Harrison Burton. I think he's starting a little bit too high, and Harrison Burton just has had bad luck at super speedways. Till that luck turns around, even 19th might be a little bit too high up for me to really enjoy. He's had decent speed here, just had bad luck. $5,400. He finished 19th here in the fall race. I think he finished last year in the Daytona 500 or close to it when Brad Keselowski took him out very early. He actually ended up on top of his roof too last year. But good luck, Harrison Burton. I just don't have much faith or ownership and don't like his starting spot. Same thing with Todd Gilliland here. Todd Gilliland, I expect to probably maybe finishes where he starts, which isn't going to do much good for me. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you're just joining in. Let me know who you like for today's race. But Todd Gilliland, 5,300, starting 14th. I just don't like your starting spot, Todd. you're going to finish where you start, and your average finish is 28th, so it's twice what your starting spot is. I don't have a whole lot of interest. Now, the sample size is pretty small. He's only had 2 starts here at Daytona, but just starting too far up for me. Don't have real much interest for Todd Gillen today. All right, Zane Smith, who is actually running a front row motorsports car with Todd Gillen and Michael McDowell. Zane Smith made the field. Congratulations, Zane. $5,200, starting 17th. He's a good super speedway racer. Can he do it in the Cup car? I don't know. He doesn't have a lot of experience in this car, but he understands the draft really well. Starting 17th, I'm not willing to put a whole lot of risk into this play. Zane Smith could be the sneaky one that not a whole lot of people play. So it could be contrarian to play Zane Smith today. I just don't like the risk factor of it. Where I do like the risk factor of Travis Pastrana, who is starting 40th. He's going to actually start 30th. That's because, as we said earlier, Kyle Busch will be starting shotgun on the field because of going to the backup car. But either way, Travis Pastrana, I tell you what, if Travis is smart and he's driving if he's smart, he's going to fall in line and either follow Kyle Busch, which would be a little risky because Kyle's really aggressive, or I think really what Travis needs to do is probably get himself with Ty Gibbs and maybe one of the other Toyotas and just cruise and just watch the attrition happen and then be there at the end of the race and get yourself a great finishing spot. So good luck, Travis. Glad to see him in the field. I wish he would race more. He would be a really good add to the Cup Series. He's just got a ton of energy and just super, super nice guy. All right, next in line here, Connor Daly coming from Open Wheeled World to try his luck here at the Super Speedway. Lucked himself into getting a starting spot because his car was absolute dog crud in duel number 2. The question is, they don't have a pit crew. And the same thing could be said when the Connor Dalys of the world show up to race at road courses. They have subpar pit crews. Not that they're not good guys, they're just not as fast as the regulars. And he's going to come in for pit stops. They're going to mess stuff up on pit stops. He's going to be slow on his pit stops. I mean, starting 34th, there is some PD upside play. Question is, that car just did not look healthy in duel number 2. So I just put a big question mark. They don't have the big technical alliance that they need. So I don't have any ownership, even though he's got a ton of PD upside potential. This whole draft package is going to be brand new to him on all sorts of fronts. I mean, he literally took to the track and the car was so ill-handling. He goes, I don't know if this is right or not. It just doesn't feel right. And sure enough, it wasn't right. They were able to fix it and get him in the race, but I don't have any interest in it. I wish him luck. I think it's great to see him over here. Great to see the open wheel guys come try the stock cars. All right, Ty Dillon in the 77, starting 37th. Great PD upside potential here. Ty Dillon understands how to survive to the end of these things. He's got 7 top 20s out of the 12 total starts here at Daytona. I expect him to take his time. Maybe he and Travis Pastrana hook up and kind of just cruise in the back and wait for all the attrition to happen. I'm sure BJ McLeod and Corey Ware will be back there with them. So you're going to see a little pack of the Ty Dillon, Cody Ware, BJ McLeod, maybe Connor Daly, maybe Travis Pastrana. Just chill and wait for the carnage to happen around them and hopefully survive and be there towards the end of the race. Riley Herbst, same thing. Riley Herbst is a decent little super speedway racer. He's had some bad luck in the Xfinity Series at super speedways, but starting 38th, $4,700, ton of PD upside play. I think he's going to chill and hang out in the back. I've got a few. He's in my lineup a few times because of these 37th, 38th, all these 30s that are back here. They're going to have ownership. I mean, heck, last year I had a friend of mine I do iRacing with in a league that I do that won $70,000 taking nothing but guys from the back on a 5 or 6 driver parlay that literally had BJ McLeod, Cody Ware, finishing in the top 10, had it all parlayed and won 70 grand. Wasn't the winner of the almost $1 million that somebody else had, but I mean, that's what these guys do. They just hang out, they run in their own little pack in the back. They don't push or shove, they don't do anything crazy. Now, fire blows and takes out this group, and all bets are off for the front, the guys that are around the 20s. But these guys typically know how to run and run smart. Cody Ware, $4,600, starting 35th. I don't have a whole lot of ownership. I probably should have more ownership in Cody Ware starting 35th. I mean, in his last 4 races at Daytona, he's got 1 top 5, 1 top 10, and 2 top 20s, an 18.3 average finish. I mean, if he were to finish in his average finishing spot, that's a decent amount of PD upside. And for his price, not a bad play. Same thing with BJ McLeod, starting 32nd. I wish they were starting 39th and 40th, but I mean, still starting in the 30s. There's PD upside play. Look at BJ. In the last 4 races at Daytona, he's got 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s. 7 total starts. He's got 2 top 5s and 2 top 10s. So, yes, finished 7th here in the fall race. There's something to be said for these guys in super speedways. If we don't have high attrition, then these guys are going to finish pretty much where they started. They may make it into the high 20s, but then everything gets thrown on its head. But more likely, almost everybody's going to play it this way. They're going to play these guys in the back because they're cheap and have a ton of PD upside play. All right, so the guys that I think are going to be highest owned are Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch, and Bubba Wallace, mostly because of their experience at super speedways and because of their starting spot. Place differential guys, I like William Byron, AJ Allmendinger, Eric Jones, Jimmy Johnson, Chase Briscoe, Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, and Martin Truex Jr. You can go for value with place differentials, Justin Haley, Daniel Suarez, Stenhouse, Pastrana, Herbst, and then you can even go BJ McLeod and Ryan Preece. The guys I am not interested in using today are Kyle Larson, Corey LaJoie, Alex Bowman, Eric Almirola, Zane Smith, Harrison Burton, Ty Gillen, all starting near or within the top 20. Also just don't have great luck at super speedways. Ones I have question marks on using are Chris Buescher, Connor Daly, Cody Ware, and Noah Gragson. They're just people I just have a feeling are not going to do as well. And guys that are starting in the top 10 that could easily stay in the top 10, if you're interested in taking these guys, I think Ryan Blaney is probably the best bet. And maybe a Chase Elliott. Joey Logano's probably, if you're looking to place a bet straight up for the win, like Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano. It's just that you literally could have a Travis Pastrana that ends up finishing 10th because of some crazy big one that will end up having more points than a Ryan Blaney who leads 30 laps and wins the race. It's just, it's numbers. And the numbers don't work for these guys that start in the top 10, typically. So, what we can look at it here. I mean, optimal lineups from the fall race in Daytona. 37th, 35th, 36th, 21st, 33rd, and 34th were the starting guys. And they've got 74 points, 73 points, 70. So, yeah, I mean, you're looking for anybody that's going to score you over 50 points. And the easiest way to get there is place differential upside. The Daytona 500 from last year, Eric Almirola started 38th. David Reagan, 34th. Bubba Wallace, 16th. Daniel Hemrick, 33rd. Now, Austin Cindric finished 5th, or started 5th. Now, look at this. He started 5th, finished 1st, led 21 laps, and only got 54 points. Where Eric Almirola started 38th, finished 5th, didn't lead a lap, and had 73 points. That's why this place differential thing is so big at these tracks. They have a chance to get all the way up to the front. So, I mean, your average starting, $18,000 left over from the fall race, $4,100 left over from this race. And then in 2021, same thing. Now the starting spots are a little bit higher up here, 23rd, 20, 24, 28, 36, but $13,000 left over. Same thing with Daytona 500 2021, 2,400. Now Denny Hamlin starting 25th, finished 5th, but he led 98 laps, 85 points. Those 20 spots, that's 20 of those points. So without that place differential, if he started 5th, finished 5th with the he'd only have 50, he'd have 65 points. And Ross Chastain would have had more points than he did, didn't lead a lap. So it's all place differential, it's all numbers. And you don't have to spend all your money. So that's what I have. That's my breakdown of the Daytona 500. It's great to be back to racing. Good luck today. Good luck with your picks if you have them in. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I typically try to go live about 3 hours prior to race start, and I typically go for 45 minutes to an hour. Hit me up in the chat or send me a message. I'd be more than happy to answer. Good luck today. Who knows? It's the crazy part of Daytona. Next week will be a little different at Auto Club. Not as big of a swing. We're looking more for dominators and stuff like that. But the Daytona 500 is always fun to watch. It's always great to be back. I appreciate you tuning in. And good luck. We'll see you next week. Thanks. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Have a good one. Bye.
Get a good deep breath. Get ready to roll here. Only about one thing tonight, getting the W, so got to be around at the end to do that. Get ready to roll tonight, boys. Let's go have some fun.
Don't get me any more fired up than I already am.
All the way to the checker. You're fine. Nobody's got to run. Checker time, baby!
Hell yeah!
Proud of you there, Matt. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day. Great work, my man. Great work.
Keep putting yourself in position, we'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
10-4, great job, guys. Excellent work, my man. Excellent work. Thank you.
Man, that's awesome. Set out with a goal, we got it here, bud. Thank you very much.
Really proud of you, man. Drove your butt off tonight. We had the fastest car here, bud.
Probably killed our deal there. Just feel like I gave one away. Yeah, boys! Way to rebound! Great job!
Great job, bud. Really good job. Appreciate you hanging in there with us all weekend.
What a weekend. Good job. Thank you.